So, hey, Jaden Fox here, and welcome to Your Cosmic Relationships, the False Light, episode number 7. So, this one is, we're going to put this all together of how false light works through others. Like, how does the false light actually work through other people to mess with you, and how to shut that down on the spot? Yeah. How to get rid of the agents that are in messing with relationships and in your body, and a different way of engaging relationships. So this is program 7. If you haven't watched the other 6 programs first, you're going to want to watch those first, or this might be a little too out of context for you. You'll also, there's an ebook that comes along with this, totally free. You'll want to download that. There's actually more content in the ebook than I could fit on the video. So there's other things there that you can read about. So click down below and download that. Make sure you have that. So just a review of the things that have been leading up to this program specific. In program 4, we looked at how this reality entices you to actually want to be in a manipulated relationship and warns you in advance that they're going to mess with you. But most people kind of miss that. I did totally. Then program 5, why relationships are actually so complicated, because it's not just you and the other person. You're actually involved with these 5 components of this other person. And if you're not aware of those 5 components, things are just like, once you can see those 5 components, things get easier. And for people who are aware, once you understand what you're engaging and dealing with, your life just gets easier. Then in program 6, we looked at how to actually identify interference. Like, what are the symptoms of that interference and the signs that your relationship might be manipulated, or like you have a new relationship coming along. How to notice in advance if that was designed to bait you into a relationship that you're going to regret later. So how does false light work through other people? Well, if you've seen the movie The Matrix, then you know the answer to that question. Because in the movie, by the way, that movie revealed a lot of things about this reality to you in a way that seems like a story, but what if it's not all a story? And one of the things is in the movie how the Agent Smith could embody anyone who's connected into the Matrix. If our heroes were running down the street this way, Agent Smith could take over any unconscious person that they found in proximity to our heroes that were traveling through that movie. How often have you been in a conversation, or you've had a partner, or you've a business associate where you're engaging them in conversation and then the energy turns a little bit strange, and then all of a sudden their voice could even change character a little bit, and they start saying things that are nasty or lies or slanderous or just backwards or just weird, and it just kind of blindsides you and you're like, whoa, what was that? What if that is what it looks like when Agent Smith comes through another person I would use the word to attack you, or to somehow engage you to false light's advantage, to some way spin you around. And often it comes at a time when you're already destabilized, or you're at a high. Like you may have just done something that's just, wow, you're like on top of the world. And then Agent Smith comes in through some person who's close to you and just whack, hits you with something that just throws you spinning. And it seems like a coincidence that whenever you're feeling really good, something comes along that kind of spins things around. What if you've experienced Agent Smith coming through other people? That's the paradigm that I'd like to kind of let you use as a model for understanding like what could be going on here. And so let's check it out. So Truth, how much have those odd, weird conversations that just kind of come out of nowhere and seem very strange been the other person, the authentic individual communicating with you, and how much has it been false light communicating with you, or some agent communicating with you? You feel the information there? So it's like, how many times have you had that sense in you where it feels like you're talking and you're kind of doing your thing, and all of a sudden you feel a little kind of weird or awkward, and the strange kind of energy thing happens in your body, and then you'll notice some kind of emotion kick in that's kind of like out of context for what's actually going on with this person. And then you find yourself compelled to say nasty things or challenging things or things that you kind of know aren't totally true, but somehow you feel justified in saying that, and you allow yourself to say that. What if that's an experience of the false light operating through you? And afterwards, the way that you know is there's this telltale sign of righteousness, like, well, they deserved me to say something like that. It may not have been nice, but they deserved it, or they needed to hear that. I used to use that one. They needed to hear that. And that righteousness is an energy, or what if that righteousness is an energy of the false light? One of their qualities, one of their characteristics of when they're around, you feel that false light, righteous energy. So let's check it. So let's clear. So what is all the unconsciousness, the anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies and frequencies around this topic or anything we've engaged today? Ooh, can we put all that in the pile? Yeah. And encapsulate everything down below, back behind, up above, way out front, from the left, from the right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile, encapsulate all. And can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing? Yeah, I choose that. Boo. Half. And vaporize, liquefy. And body, let all that stuff go. None of that is yours. 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 So go back to your memory of that experience of where you noticed something kind of came up in this weird energy, and then you said stuff that you could tell was challenging the person, but you felt somehow justified, or they needed to hear that, or they deserved that, or whatever the energy is. How much, and truth, let's feel which is lighter. Truth, how much of it was your choice to say that? How much of it was false light taking over to say that? Feel that? Yeah. So it happens both ways. The more, if you find that happening a lot to you, chances are you're engaged in false light, and it's probably also happening outwards to other people, whether you're aware of it or not. If you're not, you might want to kind of pay attention for that pattern to occur. But as you disconnect more from false light and from all these paradigms and kind of kick them out of your reality, it happens less and less, not only in you, but in people around you. You get to the point where false light either can't access you or doesn't even bother trying anymore. And that's kind of what we're aiming for, is that they don't even try anymore. They give up because it takes too many resources to try to convince you, and you just get it. And once you get it, they aren't as effective. It just doesn't work, and they'll just give up after a while. So what can you do about Agent Smith that comes through in you? Well, first, recognize the pattern and keep trying to catch it sooner and sooner, and tell yourself, I will not allow this. I will not allow this. And whether it's about whether the other person needs to hear it, or whatever the story is, whatever the catch is that causes you to allow it, if for no other reason than you're allowing an agent to use your body and use you to impact another person, don't allow it. So choose, I will not allow this anymore. And the more you try to catch it sooner, the more that pattern can't run. It requires you to be unconscious to a degree, or that's the only way you can run. The second thing you do is keep clearing false light. Keep clearing false light and learn how to detect and banish energies that are in your body that are not authentic you. Kick them out. And it's a process. It's not an overnight thing. But the more you do that, the more you let them know they will not have control over you and they will not have control over your body. The less control they do have, and the more you take over. And that's the goal, is for you to take back your body, your reality, your consciousness, and your awareness, and kick all of the Smiths out. If your name is Smith, nothing personal. And so what can you do when Agent Smith comes at you in another person? Okay, so first of all, again, the more that you become aware of the pattern of it and what's actually going on. So in the beginning, you may be like, she did it again to me. And then like, I thought that person was my friend, or I thought that person was my lover. And then you'll start to recognize, wait a minute, maybe that's not them at all. Maybe that's an agent coming through them. And like they're not even kind of totally present to it often. It just kind of happens, and they're not even aware of it sometimes that it happened. Like it's a very interesting paradigm. But at any rate, the more you become aware of it, you can do a couple things. So here's some things you can do. One is you can feel it coming in. You feel this weird energy, and they start to, like, their facial expression changes a little bit, their tonal qualities of their voice changes a little bit, and the rhythm of their speaking changes, and you can just feel this kind of thing in your gut. It's like, this isn't going to be good. Like, you just feel it. This isn't going to be good. The thing that you do to change it is disrupt the conversation. Do something that's out of pattern, out of normal, or even just walk away. Like, don't permit them to engage that. You feel it weird, you know the pattern, walk away. Yeah, I need to go. I'll be right back. Or I need to go call somebody, or do whatever. Make an excuse, exit, or just walk away. Like, they're not there anyway. Mr. Smith is in process of taking over their body. And so when you walk away, they don't even get what's happening. The real person doesn't get what's happening. And false light doesn't have the chance to engage you. And so you actually sabotage it. The more you do that, the less effective false light can be. Item 2, when you notice Agent Smith coming in, don't buy anything that person says. Know that it's not them. I've even gone as far as go, like the person starts saying whatever they're saying, and I'll just sit there and I'll smile because I see what's going on. I'll just sit there and I'll smile at them. And they're confused because you should be like reacting and being triggered by it, but you're just kind of standing there and smiling. And I've even gone as far as saying, I recognize you. I know who you are, or I know what's going on. And because they're in between both them and the agent, it just kind of, it throws the whole thing wonky. You interrupt that pattern often enough, and the agent will stop doing it, and the person will stop doing it because it's awkward. The more you allow it and react to it, the more that pattern can keep going because it's working. When it doesn't work and it's not effective, false light is going to do something different. Third thing, keep clearing any agreements. Get yourself out of, sever your connection with false light. If you're not part of it, they won't interact with you. And staying out of synthetic realities. And we alluded to this a little bit earlier, and this is kind of a bigger topic, how you recognize it, but false light invites you into these synthetic realities. The more you stay connected to nature, and it's a conscious effort, like on my journey of getting back, every day I would like connect with nature, trees, anything out in nature. Even if I was just kind of meditating on nature, I would get out of a synthetic connection. And you can start to feel when you feel kind of distant and separated from this world, you want to get back to the authentic, symbiotic planet that's functioning here. And if necessary, just don't associate with people who are prone to being taken over. And anyone who's really deep into the false light is prone to being taken over or could be prone to being taken over. So if you have to, just don't associate with them. Just cut them out of your life. Like, you really don't need the bullshit in your life. If you want to change that paradigm, you need to do something different than you have been to change that. Your awareness of the paradigm is what actually eliminates their capacity to function in your life and in your reality. The more you don't respond and allow them to engage you, the more it doesn't work, they give up and they'll go try something else, frankly. And then you learn that one, and then that doesn't work. And then you learn the next one. And then ultimately they run out of things. They give up because they're not being effective. They only keep going because they're effective. You're the one who changes that. Your awareness is what changes that. So the other component, and kind of my wrapping up of the whole concept of relationships and false light, is another indicator of the energy of false light is something that I call false heavy. So you have false light and you have false heavy. When false light is in your space, you feel falsely heavy. It's a sense of being wrong or bad when it's not actually true. And it's so a part of this reality, the whole right, wrong, good, bad game, that it's common for people to feel bad. And so you may think that that's almost normal. What if it's just an indicator of false light? So what I notice is anytime that I feel bad or wrong about myself, what if that's actually an indicator that I'm somehow perceiving or being engaged by or in false light frequencies in some way? Because when I'm at my authentic self after I've cleared, I just feel good. I feel naturally light and easy and good. It's only when I've hung around other people or I've been unconscious in patterns and I start to feel kind of wrong or bad. It's like, ugh. So what if that's a false heavy? So let's check it. So first, what is all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies, and covert and unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, undetectable body energies. And let's put all that in a pile. Encapsulate everything down below and back behind, up above, way up front, from the left, from the right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile. Take a step back from that pile. And can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing? Yeah, I choose that. Half size, half. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, body, let all that go, let all that go, let all that go, let all that go, let all go. So check this out. So truth, when you feel wrong or bad, how much are you actually wrong or bad? And how much is it the presence of false light frequencies? Feel that? Yeah. So it's a tangible thing in your space. To me, when I feel that, and I can't always grab it immediately, but usually I grab it fairly quickly now, but it's only come practice. I could just hang around a person and they may not even be poking at me, but I could just start to feel wrong or bad. And I'm like, well, that's weird. That's not my normal feeling. Why? What? And if I walk away from the person, all of a sudden I feel better. It's like, it's a frequency, and the inversion thing that they do causes you to invert and go from your natural feeling light, feeling good, into a false heavy. See how they're cool? And something that's kind of up on the planet right now is the concept of narcissism. Somebody who's a narcissist is actually, from my way of looking at it, engaging the false light. And so check that out, because it's like what they'll naturally do is they basically are, my interesting point of view is they're taken over. And false light keeps using them to attack you or people around them. And that energy of the false light twists everything. It makes you, no matter how right and clear you are, they somehow have this way of twisting the energy so you end up feeling wrong or bad and like guilty because you're actually the cause of it. And then you get away from them and you're like, wait a minute, I'm not the cause. I didn't do that. They did that. That's the inversion thing that false light, that energy, that frequency that false light has automatically inverts or flips everything opposite. So the good becomes the bad becomes the quote unquote false good or false light. So that's another, if you have a person in your life who's got the narcissistic patterns or gaslighting, sometimes they call it, that again, what if that's false heavy, is the false light in their reality. Somebody who's immersed that deeply, again, I recommend you just kind of separate from them because their journey out of that, if they choose, yeah. And if they're not choosing, like, yeah, leave them be. Go find somebody else to hang out with. So, just kind of wrapping up about relationships. What if relationships are actually about learning and exploring and growing and expanding as a being? Like in the beginning of my life, I spent 30 years like no relationship, like none, zero, because it was so fucked up. It was like, I am not going to engage that. But then I started to feel lonely and like, so I started to engage it, and it messed with me something fierce, but I ran with it. And the more experiences that I had with it, the more aware I became, the more I grew and expanded into more of me, and the more evolved I became in my capacity to interact in a relationship. So in the beginning, I was clunky and crude and unconscious, and it was just wacky. But each successive relationship, and because I focused on improving that continuously, it kept getting better and kept getting better and kept getting better. So for those of you who are in the pattern of avoiding relationships, my recommendation is that you consider if it would be expansive for you, not necessarily the easiest route, but if it would benefit you to go forward. If you have agents that are telling you not to get involved in relationships, it's usually because they're aware that you're getting involved in a relationship could awaken you very dramatically. Like it could just all of a sudden you recognize things. You could start to see things very quickly. There's something that happens when you're in connection with another person that allows you to see not only through your eyes, but through their eyes. Like you're constantly perceiving in many spaces, and with that multiple perspectives, you perceive more. You can see things that you didn't necessarily see before. And so they may be trying to keep you out of that. So my recommendation to people is to explore with relationships and have fun. Don't try to get it right. Don't try to find the right one. Again, how much is that the false light? The right one is the staged, bonded relationship that's a setup. That's what that paradigm is about. Relationships, what if they aren't meant to be love at first sight? What if they're meant to be something that grows and deepens over time? And in the beginning, all of my relationships were like, bam, drop in, because they were all set up for me. And as I started to recognize the pattern, it's like I could feel those baited relationships come into my reality, and I'm like, yeah, I know where that goes. No, I'm not going there. And instead, I'd find people that I just genuinely feel good with and that feel expansive to me in the direction that they naturally be. And they were also usually not being taken over by Agent Smith, so that helped too. So find people like that and start to develop a relationship, start to explore intimacy, start to learn and grow. And what if you can actually get to a place where ultimately you are grateful for all your relationships, even the ones where Mr. Smith showed up a lot, because they were all chances for you to learn and grow and evolve and find out more of the truth of you and the truth of this reality and expand into more of the potency and potential that you came here to be. And so I leave you with a little clip of Ariana Grande's Thank You Next song that I love the lyrics because it's a completely different way of looking at relationships. Instead of the just pick one relationship, it's like, no, I keep learning and I keep growing.
사랑한다 vision, but it wasn't a match. Wrote some songs about Ricky, now I listen and laugh. Even almost got married, and for it I'm so thankful. Wish I could say thank you to Malcolm, 'cause he was an angel. One taught me love, one taught me patience, and one taught me pain. Now I'm so amazing, I've loved and I've loved, but that's not what I see. Look what I got, look what you told me, and for that I say thank you, next, thank you, next, thank you, next. I'm so freaking grateful for my thank you.
So my invitation for you is to keep learning and exploring with relationships and allow yourself to get involved, allow yourself to grow and expand and become more. And if you have found that your relationships are really messed with, then you might want to go deeper into this topic and to explore with us in the Outcreating the Matrix program, where we dismantle a lot of those things and give you the courage and strength and clarity to begin a different way of engaging relationships. Because you're not just in relationship with that other person, you're also in relationship with all these other cosmic players. And that's where we want to go in the future. So this is the end of the False Light series, but we're going to amp it up. We're going to go bigger. This has all been kind of preparation for being able to talk about a bigger story. In the next episode, I'm just going to let it all hang out. I've been kind of dancing around and trying to gently reveal stuff so that you can hear it. The next episode, I'm just going to lay it all out. You'll get what you get. You'll hear what you hear. And it's time to have the bigger picture. My commitment is to support people in creating a life beyond interference, to eliminate interference in one's life so you can live your life and create without external influences manipulating and altering your reality. But it requires you to become way more aware of what's really going on here, and that's where I'm going to take you in the next program. We're going to go big. So you ready to go big? So we'll catch you in the next program. See you.